we've kind of touched on 440ml cans and obviously Jarl and Ragnarok coming. Workbench and Easy Trail doing very well in cans in the smaller format. Future 440ml cans. This is from David Reed on Facebook. You want to know any plans for any further 440ml cans?
I think, like I say, it's I think what's really interesting is we've obviously historically we've been known much more as a draft beer brewery, much less small pack. And for us, what's critical is that everything gets out in best possible condition into people's hands, nice and fresh. What has been nice is obviously through this lockdown period is we've seen a huge surge in our can and bottle sales, which has been fantastic. I'm not sure. I think it's a bit of a let's see how we go. I go back to this thing. We'll try something. We'll see if all of our customers enjoy it. If they do, we'll do more of it. So we're going to do the Jarl. We're going to do the Ragnarok. We'll see how well those go, and then we'll see what comes next. But we did Rain or Shine last year. We're doing Jarl and Ragnarok this year, or this summer now. Hopefully more stuff will follow on pretty quickly behind, but it'll really depend on all of our beer drinkers and whether they're enjoying them, they want more, we'll brew more of them.
So the next question, we're kind of moving on to availability of our beer. We had a few questions about where people can get our beer and our hopes for how we distribute it. Our next question is from Mary Donofrio. Apologies if I've said that wrong, Mary, but she wishes she could get more of our beer in America. Any chance we can export more over there?
Yeah, well, we've been working for a good number of years now with Shelton Brothers over there. I think the thing we think we send over a good few pallets at a time over to them, but I think we forget just quite how big the American, geographically vast the American market is. Because we send them over and we see them popping up on Untapped in cities really right the way across the states, and that's great. But at the same time, it's just such a huge beer market out there that probably the chances of coming across it at random are relatively small. So I don't know if you're lucky enough to live in sort of the Washington or New York areas. The neighbourhood restaurant group are big regular stockists, so we'd certainly hope that you'll find them at all of their restaurants. And after that, hopefully, as we unlock and as America unlocks, we'll really start shifting more beer there. But we've got to recognise, the American beer market's one of the best and most competitive beer markets in the world. It's hard to make a real splash over there from a brewery sort of our scale over here in Scotland.
And the next one comes from Karen Lowe on Facebook again, who wants to know any chance we can sell more Jarl south of the border in England?
South of the border in England. Well, you see, if you'd asked us, I think we spent most of January and the first half of February stuck, Ian and I and our sales team, stuck in sort of sales and marketing strategy meetings, really working out what were our goals for this year, and that was our number one goal this year.
Yeah.
Was really to see a lot more Jarl going south of the border. And it will, and that as unlockdown continues, that very much will be part of our game. Is how do we actually keep on expanding our reach and making sure we're touching every corner of the UK, because we know Jarl travels well, we know it tastes good right up and down the country, and we want to do a great job of getting it out to customers who can enjoy it.
Yeah, people like Karen. We know there's a lot of people out there like you who really like our beers, and we've got some really good distribution partners around the UK now. It's just how do we push that on a bit more? How do we get even more people like Karen to demand our beer?
The more people enjoy it, the more people are drinking it, the more likely it is that it's going to be widely available in their areas. Yeah. So we're very much about how do we get the beer out to people who want to drink it.
Yes.
That's where the sales teams, that's their whole job, really.
And on the marketing side, if you do find it, make some noise. Tweet us, Facebook us, post about it, tell us how much you love it, tell everyone how much you love it, because we love Jarl, and we know there's a lot of people else who do as well.
Indeed.
Okay, we're going to move on to kind of other breweries now, other people's beers, which I think is quite an interesting one. So we talked quite a lot about what we do here, but Michael Watson on Facebook says, "What's your favourite beer from a different brewery, from another brewery?"
That's really hard. That's actually extremely hard because I try and drink a reasonable amount of other breweries' beers. I probably gravitate towards Friends beers. So there's a lot of great breweries out there, and we've got friends in lots of great breweries. But I would probably struggle to pick one out and say, that's that one beer that just totally rings the bell for me. Because again, it's the moment, it's who you're with, it's where you're drinking it. It all adds up to that experience.
Oh, so this is probably going to get a very similar answer. But what would you say your favourite style of beer at the moment, or is it very eclectic, the same as the brewery?
Yeah, well, and I think again, it does depend on the moment. I mean, I would say that I'm probably being, yeah, I think at the beginning of lockdown, I was all about like the big IPAs and trying the big ones. But kind of lockdown's kind of gone on, I'm probably dropped my ABV and settled into sort of more the pale ale sort of range. I think I've probably been drinking probably from the lower end of different people's ranges
Yeah.
when it comes to ABV size. But then I've also, I've had some cracking sours as well. Actually, I'll give a shout out to Thornbridge's barrel aged sours back end of last week, and I just thought it was absolutely just hit the spot beautifully. So yeah, and there's still nothing like end of a Zoom call late at night. It needs to be a big stout because that's what you've got to end the night on. And Britain does need more big stouts. So
Yeah.
I'm always up for encouraging anyone that's brewing really good imperial stouts and drinking a few more of their output.
Yeah. And quite appropriately, we're brewing Mills and Hills today.
We are, because on a hot sunny day like today, what doesn't make you think Mills and Hills?
Yeah.
So and I think that's going to be good. I mean, that's we're brewing it today, I'd say, largely because what we want to do is we're going to split the batch 3 ways. We'll have part of it as straight Mills and Hills, and we're going to do a couple as 2 different barrel finishes, hopefully both ready for Christmas. Yeah. So it's kind of now is kind of the latest we can really brew those to have them ready for Christmas.
Cool, perfect. Those questions were from Rob Wallace on Facebook, so thank you, Rob. I forgot to say it at the start. We're going to talk a little bit more about kind of the history of Fyne ales now. We had a couple of questions, one from Stephen Pye on Twitter and one from Callum Robertson on Facebook. Stephen mentioned that he used to come up before, well, quite a long time ago, since it was a cowshed Fyne ales.
Right.
And do you have any kind of do you have any kind of memories from that time? And Callum asked kind of how does the brewery now compare to what you kind of thought or hoped it would be when you first got involved with it?
Yeah. Well, I think that's the thing. I think so. First point really is to make very huge homage to my parents, to Johnny and Tuggy, because it was really their project when they started it. I think the vision was probably, I think it'd be fair to say, I'm sure Mum reminds me often, was probably a more modest brewery than we are now in terms of scale and ambition. The brewery really started, and back in those days, it was all about microbreweries and real ales, and brewing beers to sort of fit the Canberra sort of guidelines, and that was kind of the essence of where the project began. And it really began because getting good beer up here in Argyll was pretty tough. You found a tap Duker's IPA, and that was your day. That was as good as it was going to get. I think that was where it began, and that was where it's evolved from. Over time, I think, and again, it's down to people who enjoy our beer. The fact that so many people have enjoyed our beer has given us the opportunity to take it to places that we probably never would have thought of those 19 years ago. So yes, I think it's been a much bigger success story than we ever would have thought of 19 years ago.
Got a question from Maureen Doherty on Facebook. Thank you, Maureen. She says, do you think Scottish beer tastes are different from elsewhere in the world?
I think that there is. I've certainly yes. I think there is a case for that, and I think it's probably a factor of 2 things. The British brewing heritage, working with the kind of yeast that we commonly use in Britain, and the sort of sense of balance that we have in Britain, gives a certain sort of flavour profile. And then the one thing that probably joins most Scottish breweries together, if not really all Scottish breweries together, is that we're all working with very, very soft water. And I think that combination of British brewing heritage and very soft water does actually have an element of commonality which combined everyone's beers together. And actually, we're quite lucky. Soft water is nice from a brewer's perspective because you can add to it. It's much harder to take away. So I think there probably is an element of commonality. But both of those 2 things are very blank canvases, and there is a lot of scope for everyone going in very different directions. And Lord knows, you look at the Scottish brewing scene today, from sort of people brewing extreme sours through to good solid brown bitters. Everything's out there, so everything can be done. We work with a very nice open canvas.
Yeah.
But if there is an element of commonality running through Scottish beers, I'm going to put it down to primarily that very soft water that we all brew with, and then this sort of just kind of the British yeasts, the British approach, which also tends to add an element of commonality to things.
I was going to say, like, there's definitely an element of kind of Scottish taste, like, spreading out from Scotland. You look at the enduring appeal of kind of 80 shillings and Scotch ales and wee heavies and things like that, and you know how popular they are around the world now. And then you know there's still people brewing a lot of those styles of beer in Scotland, but then there's also people like us who are doing things like Origins Brewing.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's also a very Scottish brewing project, but in a very different way. You know,
very different way. Yes. You kind of take the two ends of the spectrum as far as I'm concerned. I have never got my head around proper Scotch ales. You know, if you go to America and you know you're having a proper BJCP Scotch ale, I'm all about the malts and not about the hops. It doesn't work for me, but you know that's personal taste.
Yeah.
Whereas at the other end of the spectrum, you know, when we're looking at the Origins series, where you know the whole essence of what Origins is trying to do is to take this whole place here, this glen that we sit in, and try and distill that sense of place down into the beers. Really find a way of bringing something. Every beer should hopefully try and say something about where we're from. Here in the Glen on this farm in Argyll.
I think that'll probably lead us straight on to the next question about Origins, which Nicholas Blisson on Facebook asks, what's the next Origins brewing release?
Well, we're very excited about this one. We poured it actually down at Cloudwater's Friends and Family Festival. When was that? That was not long before lockdown.
No, it was February, yeah.
Yeah, February, yeah, exactly. It feels like another lifetime ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, we poured it for the first time down there, and that's fantastic. So that was a beer that brewed with a friend, Wayne from Cigar City. And, you know, we were talking about sort of culinary inspirations and where's the brewery from. And well, you know, and again, going back to the fact that our mum and dad started the brewery, Dad's absolute favourite sort of after lunch treat was whiskey tablets or whiskey fudge for those south of the border. So you know, we said to Wayne, like we tried describing to Wayne. I think we were sitting at Sierra Nevada's new brewery in Asheville. We're trying to describe to Wayne what a whiskey tablet was and take that as an idea and knock it forward. So what we set out to do was to create a beer that was going to stand up to a whiskey cask, because I think a lot of Scotch whiskey can become quite overpowering against a lot of beers. So we decided to work with our friends down at Springbank and to use their Hazelburn whiskey casks. It's got quite a nice mild, not too smoky flavour profile. And then we did a big double mash of a big dark beer that would really tie in with that. And as you say, you know, Springbank being just the other end of the loch from us, they're very much sort of part of our story. They're the guys that we brewed Fyne Bank with, again, I'd love to see come back one of these days. So you know, it fitted that origin story of something local tying in that way. And then Wayne is a master of brewing big barrel-aged beers, so it was a great opportunity to work with him on coming up with a fantastic beer. And I have to say, I've been absolutely delighted. I think it's tasting fantastic. So I think it's going to be labelled up, and I think the beer's now ready to go. So we're just waiting to get it labelled up, and it should be on the web shop in the next week or two.
Yeah. It's Origins Brewing. It's Elegy is the name of the beer, and hopefully we'll have it on sale next week. If you're watching this on Saturday during Fyne Fest at home, then keep an eye out for it early next week, and we'll get it on the website.
It really is. It's one of the ones I've been really happy with.
Yeah.
The next thing with Origins has to be that we're not. Particularly as we're in this sort of lockdown phase, the sort of collections and releases and events, you know, we can't do a lot of events at the moment. So we're looking now at really sort of rolling out releases one at a time. So we've got Elegy coming next, and then I think we've got 2 or 3 more coming in the pipeline fairly briskly after that, and then we'll see how things evolve after that. With Origins, it's always a bit of an uncertainty. Okay,
so we're going to finish with a quick game.
Right.
This is a few of these that I actually sourced from friends, but these are quick fire questions, A or B. I'm going to give you an A and a B, and I don't want you to think about it. I just want to tell you, or I just want you to tell me what your choice is. Okay, so this is going to be. I've only got a dozen or so here, but
okay.
Yeah, A or B. Don't think about it. First thing that comes into your head. Okay, so if you're ready.
Okay.
Okay. Number 1, coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Movies or box sets?
Movies.
Spring or autumn?
Spring.
Record player or Spotify?
Spotify.
Burgers or sausages?
Burgers.
Sun or snow?
Oh, sun.
Led Zeppelin or Rolling Stones?
Ooh, hard. Rolling Stones.
Morning person or evening person?
Evening, you know that.
And finally, Jarl or landlord?
Oh, Yeah, come on.
Cool. Well, thank you very much,
Easy.
Jamie. That's us, I think. And yeah, we're gonna move on to the next segment. But thank you for watching, everyone, again, and thank you for joining Finefest at home. We really, really wish that everyone was here with us today. You know, I don't think that Glen's ever looked quite as nice as this, or it has, but you know, not too often. Thank you to Jamie, and yeah, anything you want to finish with?
Yeah, no, just to say, guys, look, thanks so much for everyone for taking time to listen in, and you know, we really look forward to welcoming you back here as soon as we possibly can. And you know, next year's Finefest, we're going to be down here. We're going to be partying properly in the Glen. We're going to make it absolutely one of the best we possibly can. And you know, you can see probably, I don't know if you can see in the background, we've got a few cattle lurking in the shade who are enjoying the campsite. But we wish you were all here enjoying it properly as well. And as soon as we can get back there, we are just longing to see you all back again. And you know, until then, I hope everyone has a really good time, stays safe, and enjoy some good beers. Yeah. So many thanks.
Cheers. Cheers, guys.